Oh Lord.
Thanks for tapping in with 95 South TV, hosted by IKone and KJ, bringing you the best news and media through the efforts of the community. We interview nonprofit organizations, business owners, school teachers, spiritual leaders, and anybody who has an impact in the community that has a remarkable backstory. These professionals that we bring on this show has a story that will wow you, that will knock your socks off. And with that being said, we want you to tune in, keep it locked. We want you to like, share, follow, and subscribe. Be a dedicated listener. Come in, and if you require to do an interview, you can definitely reach out to us at 95southpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for your ongoing support. Your support is needed, it's appreciated.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy IKone. And we're here on 95 South TV once again. First and foremost, want to thank God for this opportunity because without him will be no us to be able to have these great interviews and great discussions. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna introduce everybody from the top to the bottom and all that kind of good stuff. You know what I'm saying? I got my girl Miss Tex prepare herself, Mrs. Houston, Mrs. Houston Texan out there. You know what I'm saying? Taylor Thomas, Taylor T. How you doing, sister?
I'm good, aka Queen T, the real Queen T.
No doubt,
Okay?
no doubt,
And you
no
better
doubt.
know it.
Okay,
Um,
okay. Let them know. Let them know. You know
yes.
what I'm saying? And then next I got, you know what I'm saying, your baby mama favorite host, Mr. Barry White Jr. voice himself. You know what I'm saying? You know, he'll like he about to go play some golf with that hat on. You know what I'm saying? Jacob the Great. What's going on, fam?
Hey man, glad to be in the land of the living, man. Another day to get it right, man. Just ready to get into this great interview and see what's really happening.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, so go ahead and introduce this young man so we get this interview cracking.
Man, South Carolina representative, singer, play the keys, Mr. Showmanship himself, CAM Nettles. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing
How
How
you
today?
you
doing?
doing?
Happy Sunday evening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, man, let's get right into it, man.
Okay.
Did you find music or did music find you?
Wow. Let's just dive right in. um, Music found me. Um, it's real deep. So if I start getting emotional at any point during this, I'm sorry.
It's okay, brother. You got this.
I know. I've always kind of been an outcast in life. You have people that see, you have people that fit into different lanes. Like you have your athletes, you have your comedians, you have your band people. I was always like Mr. Just go with the flow. I didn't really, I was kept to myself, real shy. And I tried sports, didn't work. My dad was hard on me. He was like, if you would just practice and do this, you would get there. Um, it didn't work. So one day I was like, what if I just decided to teach myself how to play an instrument? And so I literally went on YouTube and was like, how to play the piano. My grandmother's old, probably like 100-year-old baby grand piano just sitting in her hallway. And I literally just would steal her computer and just watch YouTube tutorials. So I feel like I really feel like it's a God given gift. That's what I like to tell people. I like to tell people that I'm blessed because it was something that I never really wanted. Like I never really saw myself doing something like this, but to be able to do it on a daily basis consistently is it's beautiful.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you another thing. You are the first artist that um I've ever sat down with an interview on. I don't know about the other two hosts, but you're the first artist where I read in your bio that you was inspired by Elton John. That's a hell of an inspiration because he didn't sold records all around the world, millions of records, and hit every stage in America and overseas. So, where did that Elton John inspiration come in at?
Ooh, I think when I first initially said that I was going to do this, because I feel like if you're going to go, if you want to be a superstar, if you're shooting for the sky, you got to start with the legends, right? You got to start with. So I grew up in a household that was all old school music. I grew up listening to Stevie Wonder. I grew up listening to Billy Preston. I grew up listening to Billy Joel, Elton John, all the greats that played this beautiful instrument. They, I feel like they almost paved the path for me to be like, you're next. So I know those are big shoes to step into, but I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay, okay, and man, playing playing instrument, and especially the piano, and learning from a grandbaby piano, that's a different vibe. We call them, old school church pianos, because
Absolutely.
that's where we seen them in the churches. So, learning off of old school piano, man, and getting this passion and getting this drive for it, man. Is the piano your baby, or would you say the pi- the piano is that emotional person that you never had?
Both. Um, I tell everybody, I'm like, especially when you play something nice like this. I call this my baby. Everywhere I go, it's in a case. It's really well protected. It's like my child. But it's also whenever I'm happy, whenever I'm sad, whenever I'm going through something, anything that I'm feeling, I can turn to it because it's always there. Because no matter what key you play in, no matter what you do, it's like the emotion's gonna show.
Hmm.
But it's always I like to tell with everything that I've been through, I like to tell people that it was my first love, but it's always been there for me. It's got me through a lot.
Okay, okay, okay. So playing the piano and learning how to count bars when you're writing songs. Cause I tell people all the time, if you sit down and talk with an engineer, and they'll tell you that you got to be a different type of engineer to engineer a singer. You know what I
Right.
mean? Versus a rap artist. You know what I mean? And so, what type of place do you write from when you're writing? Is it from an emotional place, a mental place, or is it other people's stories that they've shared with you?
I like to tell people that I want to be that voice. So, like I said earlier, I've always been an outcast. I've always been, a lot of music got me through a lot of hard times. So I always tell people that my music, it's really everything that I've come out with and I'm about to come out with is almost like a coming of age story. It's like I've been through all this. Here's my story. Maybe it can help you. So I'm almost like I feel like I was put on like my purpose in life is to inspire others and to get people through those hard times. I feel like I'm that artist because my music is happy, but it also has like a deeper meaning to it.
Okay, okay, okay. So being from Flowtown, Florence, South Carolina, right? I'm from South Carolina as well, so I definitely know about Flowtown. So how did how did the community and your peers receive you when they really found out that you was putting out music, or you was doing the music thing?
Um, it first was, I got a lot of no's. I had people in school when I really started to want to do this. I even had it was as far as like my principals telling me they were like, you need to pursue something serious because music's not gonna get you anywhere. So it's like I almost have like this drive deep down. This like I've had so many people tell me no that it's like I'm doing this for myself at this point. So it really started out with you need to do something different because this isn't for you. But when they started to see me finally do it, that's when they were like, okay, maybe we should back him. Maybe we should give him a shot. So it's like I'm still trying to get that. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm still trying to get the hometown on my back to like believe me, to be like, this is me. Like I'm Cam Nettles, the artist, not this little short kid that was insecure that you knew. Like I'm really out here doing this. This is me. So
Okay, I can dig it. I can dig it. Okay, Queen Taylor, over to you.
Oh, really? Okay. So, first of all, I know it has to feel great to be coming out of South Carolina. Um,
absolutely.
to because I'm originally from North Carolina,
Okay. So you're from
and just to have the envision to even go there to to make it to feel, at ease with all of that. And so um in your mind, being that you was always around music and, you know, did you have anybody in particular like that kind of, motivated you the whole, this whole time that, from younger all the way up? Did you have a particular person who motivated you to be like, yeah, you got this?
Um, I think it starts with me with family. My grandparents will tell you that I used I used to be in their living room. I used to dance to the Wiggles all the time when I was little. They said I always used to have rhythm. They bought me my first little play guitar. They bought me the first act instruments. So like I always tell people, I'm like, I feel like they knew before I even knew, because they were always trying to get me to, my grandmother was really, she had a lot of rhythm. She used to play piano. So it was like, I feel like, having a good foundation really starts with family. And I feel like, especially with my grandparents, I think that's where I get a lot of, the soul that I have, the old soul. So I feel like both sets of my grandparents really laid like the foundation to kind of get me to where I am now. My parents too, of course, but I
Okay.
got grandparents some love.
Okay. And so um like your first singing gig, how was that for you?
Oh, it was it was unbelievable, the people that actually turned out to. I guess it was like they wanted to see what I could do, because the place was packed. I mean, it was a little coffee shop in Darlington, so it wasn't in Florence. It was in Darlington. It was a city over, and it was. I had so many people that came from my classmates, so many people that I hadn't seen in years that were like, we're gonna come out and listen to you, and we're gonna ride you. Well, like we're gonna ride with you. We're gonna back you. And it was like when you get put in a situation like that, it makes you want to go harder, because it's like, wow, these people are like believing in me. It's like now I really have to put on for my city, because
Right.
if this is my first gig and all these people are showing up to listen to me, like the sky's the limit. So it was I always tell people I'm at home when I'm on a stage, whether I'm playing for two people or whether I'm playing for a million. It's like people always tell me they're like a switch flips when you get on stage. When you're behind the keyboard, and it's like magic happens. So to see my first gig, that many people show up, it was like maybe I have something here. Maybe this.
Okay. It was amazing. I could
Absolutely.
believe it. So have you ever had one of those moments where you might have been performing and it was kind of like maybe you was feeling it, but the crowd wasn't feeling it? Did you have one of those moments?
I feel like surprisingly that happens a lot more than people would think. So I got to a point where I used to get really down on myself, because I was like, should I have to tailor, the music I'm playing or the way that I'm like carrying myself for the audience that's in front of me? And my mentor Kevin Bryant, the CEO of One Degree, the label that I'm signed to, told me a long time ago. He said people are going to talk either way. He said, you're going to have people that are going to run their mouth about you, whether it's good, bad, happy, or sad. So he said, you got to be comfortable in yourself first and know that what you're doing is what you want to do. And he said, your audience will just come. So I feel like as an artist, that happened. You'd be surprised. I'm sure there's people out there every time I perform that are like, I'm not feeling this. But is it going to stop me? No. It's like,
Right.
it's one of those things that you just kind of have to live with and just keep rolling.
Right.
And I'm glad that I've gotten to that place mentally, because that's like a lot, a lot of discouragement, a lot of, am I really good enough to do this? Because, you have those thoughts too. But when it finally clicked, I was like, yeah, I'm all right. I'm going to be all right.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions, and then I'll let Mr. IKone get with you. So, have you collaborated with anybody locally, in your town, in your city, locally? That did you collaborate with them?
Yeah, I started, the first band that I was actually in was a two-piece band. It was me and a drummer that I was in high school with. He was 2 years below me, but um, I give a lot of credit to him, because he was the person that really like gravitated to me and was really like, we became best friends, because he was like, I want to play with you. It was the first person that ever looked at me and been like, I see something in you. Let's get together. So we gigged we probably gigged with each other for a year and a half, going on 2 years before he finally went to college. And then, that's one of the things that I like to tell people all the time is I've been privileged to work with so many talented people, so many people that have, I feel like, accelerated me just by like letting them be a part of my journey. I feel like there's too many people to name, but I'm always, music's universal. So I always tell people, I'm like, you want to collaborate? You need a keyboard player? You need somebody to sing? Like, let me know. I'm here. So, but that's one thing I will say is South Carolina's got a lot of talent. A lot of talent. There's people from Columbia to Charleston to Greenville to Hilton Head to you name it. You name a city. There's talent. So I feel like South Carolina is kind of one of those underrated states that hopefully I can be one of those people that changes that narrative eventually. But
Right.
I think the state of South Carolina is really slept on when it comes to music.
Um, I probably can agree. Um, but I can't say for sure, but they are in my eyes. I mean, because I don't really know too many talented people, from South Carolina. Now, being from North Carolina, of course,
Uh,
but you represent. So as you represent, you shine for your state. More people gonna shine too.
there you go.
So I think that having that mindset that you have right now, just know further along, the greatness is gonna get even, you're gonna get even greater. More things are gonna, start coming for you. So I'm gonna pass it on to Mr. IKone.
All right, yeah, and I agree with both of y'all on that sentiment because me and Jacob, a couple of times we've done. I don't know if you know who Sam Pugh is, but he does a lot of. He's done a couple of actual award shows in the state of South Carolina.
Okay.
And the one thing I say is a couple of times I've been up there for like those events, the people in South Carolina, the artists come out. And I've been in me and Jacob in this business since the '90s. I've never seen the support and the way artists come out. I remember just give you a quick thing. We did the first annual award show in South Carolina, and we did it at this like a restaurant. And me and Jacob was doing the media for it. And I remember it was supposed to start at like 6 o'clock and it was nobody there. Of course, you thinking, okay, black folks, so they're gonna be late. So whatever, PT time or whatever, PT time, and they ended up like I don't know where they came from, but everybody literally showed up at 6 o'clock on the dot. It was
Wow.
crazy. So we had to literally like interview like 20 or 30 artists in like an hour, like a 30-minute time frame for them to get in, get their interview, and get into the award part of the show whatever, where they was having the awards. But it was crazy how just everybody it's almost like they was sitting around the corner
Right.
waiting to
They're
come
waiting to
in,
come. Yeah.
and then they just all showed up at the same time. I was like, I never seen nothing like this. And a couple other times I've seen them at events. They come early, they're all prepared, and they all give on a great performance. You know what I mean, or whatever. Regardless what the music sound like, all of them have like a lot of energy when they perform it. So I will agree with you on that. Now I'm gonna say this: I watched your video, No Games,
Okay.
and I seen the Elton John look in the video. So immediately when I cut it on, so I said, okay, there go to reference. And I said when I heard the music, you reminded me between like a John B and a Justin Timberlake put together. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if you ever got that before, but to me, I see my whole point is I seen the story in you. I seen it immediately.
Wow.
So to me, where do you see yourself going? Like how in your mind, in your dreams, your wildest dreams, where do you see yourself going in this music industry?
Mm. I mean, I think I'd be selling myself short if you didn't say the obvious answer. You want to be one of the greats. So that's obviously the ultimate goal. But I think for me, the next step is just getting ready. I'm in artist development right now, obviously. And that's one thing I can say is I feel like artist development is really slept on too in today's game. Um, I feel like that's where artists really find themselves. Like for me, the past couple of years has been like really discovering who I am and getting comfortable in myself, which I think a lot of artists struggle with. Um, so artist development's gotten me to where I am now. So I want to continue to do that until I feel like I'm ready to where I can go on tour. Because I think that's that's the next step. Is you want to be able to open up for people. You want to be able to get your name out not only in the state of South Carolina or the state of Georgia, but you want to be countrywide, nationwide, and then you want to be worldwide. So I think that's where I'm kind of at now, is doing whatever it takes to get myself 100% ready to take that next step.
So the label that you with now, when the first, well, okay, when they first found you, what was the situation, and what were you thinking when they first came and approached
So I attribute all this to my aunt. So my aunt has two kids, a younger kid and an older kid, and they were both signed to this talent agency. And she came to me one day and was like, I really think you have something. You should go audition for this talent agency. She said, all you got to do is show up, you take a keyboard, you perform. I cried for 3 straight weeks and bailed because I didn't think I was good enough to go. So on the next week, I finally went. And she was like, oh, you're just going to come in and you're just going to perform for me. So I performed. I get there and there's like 60 people there. And she's like, are you ready? And I was like, what? You said I was just performing for you. She said, no, you're going to set up your keyboard and you're going to perform for everybody. So I performed. I finished performing. She handed me the papers and was like, you're signed. That summer, they did a talent showcase where it's like they call in a bunch of different agents, bunch of different record executives, and that, I guess, that's really like where you meet your connections. So I met this guy that was with the label at the time, and he was like, I really like you. He's like, we should figure out where this is going to go. So I followed up with him. I came to Atlanta. That was actually my first time coming to Atlanta, was to meet with this guy at the time. And that's where I met his business partner at the time was Kevin Bryant, who's the CEO of One Degree, the label I'm signed with now. So Kevin and I go back years. And I remember one of the first things that he said to me was, you're like a firecracker. He said, it's like, you're ready to go, 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 go. Like, you don't know how to not give 100% when you perform. So I remember the first time I performed for him, and the track wasn't working, but it was like a room of like 10 to 12 people, and the track wasn't working, but I wasn't even conscious that the track wasn't working. I was still playing and performing, and he literally had to say, y'all see what I'm talking about? Whoa, 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 whoa. Like, let's calm down. So we went, and he was like, okay, so now we got to get you in the studio to see to see what you really have, like to see this is something that you want to do. I went to my first writing session, and he had two fellow artists that were in there with me, and I didn't say a word. I didn't say a single word. I was the most shy. I was like the shy little kid I was telling you about earlier. It was like it came back out. Like I was like a box. So he tells people that he's like, the growth that I've seen from you when I first met you and you were like this to now. He's like, he said it almost makes him cry, because he's like, it's a coming of age for him, that he's worked with somebody for so long that now it's like you're coming into your own. So to be able to see myself grow from not saying a word, not wanting to step up to a microphone and perform, to now being like, I'm ready for whatever comes my way, it's beautiful. It's
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna give it back to Jacob after this.
okay.
And that's why artist development is so very important in the music industry. And I'm gonna give an example why. If you I don't know if you ever followed this group, the Migos, but if you ever watched the Migos, the first time they was on Vlad, the first time they was on the Breakfast Club, you could tell they were street kids who didn't know how to basically articulate themselves.
Right.
It's kind of like pulling teeth trying to get them to answer questions. Then when you see them 4 or 5 years later, in the later interviews, and how when they would be on interviews, how the confidence in themselves, and how they would just speak with clarity, and just you've seen the major difference. And I feel like that comes from being having artist development, that a lot of these artists will get signed to these labels. They throw them out there, then they end up being on these blogs or these interviews, and they say something stupid or talk about their former life, and they end up ruining their careers.
Right.
So that's why this is the reason why you're the perfect example of why we need artist development. Go ahead, Jacob.
Wow. Oh. Is he
If
muted?
you talking, we can't hear you. I think your volume off. Something.
You muted.
He was
Yeah.
muted.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Right.
Shout out to my man Kevin Brown for One Degree Entertainment, and I
Absolutely.
actually know who he was last year, Cam. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. So me and Kev had uh uh talked about you, and then he sent me some videos of a couple of female artists. So I gave him a call, and I said, man, I got a slot open, and he said, who you want? I said, man, who you got? He said, man, I think you should roll with Cam, being being on the conversations that he and I had. See, cause I know Kev from when he was out there heavy, when he was
Right.
touring with CC Peniston and CNC Music Factory, and Kev is a EDM house techno electronica type artist. You know what I mean? He was on those type of world tours overseas in Europe. You know what I mean? Kev name hold a lot of weight. So
Absolutely.
and I said, Kev, this is your artist, right? He said, yeah. I said, let me guess, Kev, you got him in some heavy artist development. I said, yeah. He said, cause the truth of the matter, me and him always talk about country music, gospel music, pop music, and we talk about how they run their labels. And we talk about you never gonna hear a country artist say they're broke. You know
Right.
why? Because they put them in artist development for about 3 or 4 years, and they really teach them the business. They send them to media school, and all the above. So when Kev told me that you would sign him, I said yeah. I said to myself that Kev definitely got him in some heavy artist development, whether it's recording sessions, whether it's songwriting sessions, or whether they just talking about the business so he can learn the business. So you're definitely in good hands, man. You're definitely in good hands. So let's talk about who's your favorite piano player ever.
Ooh, my goodness. Um, I got a couple. I got Little Richard.
Okay.
Uh, could tear a piano up. So could Jerry Lee Lewis.
Hmm.
Jerry Lee Lewis. Mr. Great Balls of Fire. Mister. Um, I had somebody tell me one time. They were like, "Have you ever thought about setting your keyboard on fire?" I was like, I
You
was
know
like
what?
Jerry Lee Lewis. They were like, "Yeah, you could kick over your piano stool and do it." And I was like, that's. I was like, that's. Maybe I could bring that back. But I think really one of the biggest for me is Billy Preston. Um,
Okay.
the first song that I performed when I did that first showcase was actually Nothing from Nothing, and that song is like that's kind of become synonymous as like a cam song because that's really I tell myself that I have a lot of like soul deep down. So when I do like those songs, like a Billy Preston song or a Stevie Wonder song, it's really like I can tap into who I actually am. I don't have to
Hmm.
hold back, so I can play the hell out of the piano. I can be goofy. I can because I mean at the end of the day, I'm a quirky white boy. I don't have anything to hide. I'm very like I'm just Cam at the end of the day. But um, so let's see. You got Little Richard, Jerry Lee, Billy Preston. Um, you got Stevie Wonder, obviously,
Hmm.
one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion, in numerous ways.
Right.
And then you got Elton John, of course, and Billy Joel. Billy Joel's another one for me too. I just actually watched his documentary that just came out on HBO Max, and he was just talking about everything that he went through to get to where he was. I was like, there's so many things that he went through that I can relate to, especially being a white artist that was kind of quirky, that was just coming out onto the scene, all the places he had to play, all the dues he had to pay to get to where he was. I was like, that's literally my journey. That's what I'm going through right now. So it's like I feel like I have little inspirations of all that in my piano style and like how I carry myself on stage. So I that's my thing is I attribute pretty much everything I do to all the legends. Like I feel like they've really paved the path
Hmm.
from who I am. Which I mean, in my opinion, that's you can't really get much better with the greats when it comes to modeling yourself. So
That's
I,
right. That's
I
right.
think Paris did pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, and why I ask you that, man? Because I tell people all the time, there's there's really somebody that piqued your interest when you're really on this music journey. Like, I asked, I would ask the guitar players who their favorite, and I would say, of course, BB King, Jimi
Mhm.
Hendrix, John Mayer, and I would say the lead guitar player for a rock group, U2. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I can't call his name, but yeah,
Yep.
it's always gonna be something great. So as far as you, what is the most inspirational or emotional song that you ever written where you just had to stop writing because you couldn't get through it or you couldn't get through recording it because you was just drenched in tears?
I have a song that's come. So before I get to this question, I actually have an EP that's coming out soon. So I have a project that's coming out hopefully in the next. We're in the mixing and mastering stage, so it's coming too. But the title track is called "On My Way," and it is seriously the bare bones story about how I've been through everything I've been through to get to where I am today. And the first time that I ever actually got to perform it, I made Kevin cry, and it was like it. It's seriously, it's like me. It's probably me being the most emotionally vulnerable I've ever been in my life. But it's a story that I feel like when I was saying that I want to be that storyteller, I want to be that voice for people. That's a story that needs to get out there because it's another one of those. If I can do it, you can do it too. And probably I probably can't even count on two hands the amount of times that I broke down, whether it was in the writing process, trying to get the right words out, in the recording process, in even in the piano playing, because it's so like melodic. It's really like there's emotion all over it. Like it's really it's a but I will say that those moments are those are those moments you just can't make up. Like when you do something like that and it makes you cry or it makes you feel a certain type of way, it's like I tell people, I'm like, unless you've been in that situation, you just don't know. Like it's that powerful.
I can dig it. I can dig it. And so with that being said, with you being so strong at the piano, do you produce for other people as well?
That's actually something I really want to start getting into. I pride myself so much on my piano playing, especially being somebody that's self-taught, to be able to be, I guess, as well versed as I am. It's like I feel like I'm almost doing myself an injustice not getting into that yet. But I also want to make sure that I have my bearings under me as like who I am in my journey as an artist before I kind of venture out into that lane. But that's definitely something that if you start seeing Cam Nettles produce some songs, you know that you heard it here first that was something that I wanted to do. So hopefully in the future that'll be a lane that I get to explore.
Right, right, right. I'm asking you the same questions that I'm going to ask John Legend when we interview him, and I know we're going to interview him one day.
Yep.
So a lot of people listen to John Legend singing, but I listen to his standpoint on how he played the keys and the octaves and the melodies he's gonna come up with when he playing the keys for to give us a testament of his soul with his vocal ability. And
Absolutely.
so, but I tell people all the time, man, as of right now for a young piano player, John Legend is top tier for
Absolutely.
sure, for sure, for sure,
Absolutely.
for
John Legend is good. John Batiste is really good too. I've gotten into a lot of his the New Orleans jazz, real
sure. Yeah, yeah,
just the
yeah.
way he carries himself on a stage is that's the type of energy that I see myself bringing when I get onto those bigger stages. Like I did the Juneteenth festival a couple months back in Piedmont Park,
Okay.
and just being on the and I actually got to so One Degree had we had a portion of the show. We actually got to shut down the festival, and Kevin designated me to be the headlining artist, which was like, wow, like what an opportunity. And when I got on stage and you have the lights flashing and you look out and you see the people and you see the skyline and everything, it does it really get much better than that? Like it was like, man, it was like just pure energy, but it's just like moments like that I can't wait to just I can't imagine what it's going to be like to perform in front of the crowds that these guys get to perform in front of every night. Like,
Right.
and they're so consistent too. You go see their show in 10 different cities, it's the same show. It's just like, it's beautiful. Um, but no, that's funny you say John Legend, because All of Me was actually the first song that I learned how to play.
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
That was
okay.
because it was it had either just come out or it was right around that time, and my grandmother was like, "I heard the song on the radio. I really want you to learn it." And so that's when I went to the YouTube tutorial, and that was that. I think it was that, and it was Someone Like You by Adele. Those were the first two songs that I actually learned how to play. So the
Not
fact
bad at all.
John Legend,
Yeah, not bad at all to learn those two. I'll say this right here, man. There's there's a there's a there's a lot of emotion when it comes to playing them keys, and I tell artists, and see, these are things about a newer artist, and I can say that you're a different artist because I always give, when artists ask me questions and stuff like that, and want me to help with their music, I always give them um, people to study. You know
right?
what I mean? Like if you're a female singer, I'm gonna tell you to study, Patty. I'm gonna tell you to study Aretha. I'm gonna tell you to study Tina Marie. You know, I'm gonna tell you to study those people. And as far as the male, I'm gonna tell you to study my favorite singer of all time, man, is Donny Hathaway,
There you
hands
go.
down,
There
hands
you
down. So just just learning from other people is going to get you great. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna just hand this thing over to Queen T. You know what I mean?
keep passing it along.
I'm
Yes,
just
sir.
I'm just enjoying the comments. I'm
I know
enjoying the comments right now.
they're trying to brand Damn Cam as my tagline. I'm not a rapper, but they're like, "Damn Cam." That's what they make that the thing.
Yeah. I I was just sitting here thinking about like all the singers, that I enjoyed, that was older. And it just like I didn't hear like I mean, maybe because they to me they was the best, but everybody's different. But I'm sitting here thinking about like, like my favorite Al Green
Oh, the
and
rep, absolutely.
and you know, really Al Green. Yeah, Al Green. And just thinking about how the different ways of music and today, the difference between today, and back then. And then in my head when you was talking, I was like, I wonder why you just didn't want to be a piano teacher. I'm just sitting here thinking about all of that stuff because I always want to learn how to play piano.
Right.
And so I'm like, I wonder why you didn't think about being a piano teacher.
But that's so funny that you asked that, because the amount of people that have asked me, they're like, "Can could you teach me how to play?" And I was like, "I can teach you how to do what I did." I said, because somebody asked me one time, they said, "Have you ever thought about, taking just a basic music theory class?" Because, me being self-taught, I can't read music. I can't read sheet music. It's very, so I feel like in order for me to do that, I mean, unless I were to invent my own lane, my own style of teaching, like with the improvisation and the runs and everything that I do, it would really take me like going to school and learning. And I've actually thought, um, somebody mentioned to me, they were like, if you could combine what you have with a little music theory, and then you could build on that music theory, they were like, do you realize how much of a powerhouse you could be?
That's true.
Mhm.
Because you could tie in the elements of you being able to perform on a stage and have all the soul and everything that you have, but you could also take it back to the classical roots. You could also, pull in elements that you would have never even thought of before. So that's something that I've really, especially as of late, I've really genuinely thought about doing. Like, damn, if all these people are telling me that it can make me greater.
Yeah. You know, I don't think IKone and Jacob knew this, but when I graduated, I just wanted to share this really quick. When I graduated from high school, right? First I wanted to be a journalist. And then I wanted to be a music instructor. I didn't tell y'all that. I wanted to be a music instructor. It was because I had been in a marching band from a kid all the way up to,
Uh,
to high school, so on and so forth. But we had a particular instructor who made us read everybody's music. Like, he made us read everybody's music, but because he wrote all the music, because a lot in the marching band are remixes of songs, or they
Absolutely.
combine together. And so he's like, you're gonna have to learn, how to write music. And so, you playing that in particular, piano, I was just sitting here thinking, like, dang, that would have been something great. I would have, I'm still talking about me.
Right.
This would have been something great, and I would have wanted to really learn, growing up, because to be musically inclined, to love music, um, and to be able to do it, that's
It's
therapy.
right. It's therapy in itself, and people don't realize that it's like like a spiritual moment. Like you
Yeah.
can just it's music's universal, so it's powerful. But
Right.
And you can
Um,
always have a job. If
exactly.
you
Yeah.
musician, you can always have a job for sure.
right. Right. That's right. That's
Speaking
true.
of important things, yes, sir.
Well,
Um, I'm gonna pass it on to you, Connie.
it's funny because I was saying thinking. I said, well, unless I missed it, I said y'all missed maybe a couple of people because y'all might have missed Jamie Foxx as a piano player.
Oh
Y'all might
yeah.
have missed R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think y'all said Alicia Keys. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
I
Well,
didn't know
well,
our
I kind it's different levels of piano players,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah. I know that. I know.
yeah,
I was just in my mind wanting to add them three in there, not maybe because I was listening to R. Kelly's catalog because to me he's the goat when it comes to R&B music. It's just
Right.
just my thing. Like the way he can make a song out of anything. I ain't never seen nobody make a song out of kitchen food. I mean, cooking food or kitchen appliances. It's a love song. It's not about the plate. It's a love song.
Right.
yeah,
You know what
man.
I'm saying, or whatever. So he can make a song about anything. I ain't never seen nothing like it. But I'm gonna say this, Cam. Like, so don't forget about the little people when you blow up, because I know you're gonna be on every major platform. And you probably next year this time you'll probably be on the New Year's Eve ball drop. You know what I mean, or whatever. So but I'm gonna say that I'm gonna ask you this question before we get out of here.
Okay.
Um, what's the biggest thing that you learn about the music business, being that you've been under development and a lot of people probably not getting the teachings and being able to learn, especially from somebody so experienced like a Kevin Bryant? Because I'm gonna say this, and me and Jacob, what I'm saying, we just got on with a label doing A&R,
Okay.
and the one thing that we always harped on for the last few years was the fact that most of these labels, especially these major labels, they lazy because all they do is go to
Right.
YouTube and say, "Oh, who has the biggest numbers?" And that's who we're gonna sign. And then 2 years later, that artist is gone because they can't make another hit record behind that one record they had that they caught lightning in the bottle. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Kevin is going to have it where you're going to have a career, not a you're going to have a long career. You're
Right.
like a 20. You're going to have a Tom Brady career, not a Greg Oden career. You're going to have a long, prosperous career where you're going to be around 30 years, 40 years from now because of development. So, what's the one thing that you've learned, or a couple of things you've learned under this whole tutelage?
I feel like the main thing that Kevin preaches is we're not doing this just for overnight success. We're not doing this just for overnight fame. We're actually, it's funny you say longevity because we're doing it for longevity. He's got everything structured out to where the way first of all, let me stress how important it is to have a team. It's very important to I I wouldn't understand the half of all these things if I was doing this as an independent artist, because you know how easy it is just to record something and upload a song. But when you have management, when you have people, especially how deep our team is at one degree, we have people in different aspects. We have people that handle the real business side of things, the legal things. We have people that handle the day to day. We have people that you can come to talk to when you have an issue. Like, it is so important to have a team because they keep you grounded. I think that's one of the biggest things for me is I never have to worry about the small things because I have all these people to rely on that have my back. And that's just it's like a blessing because I feel like a lot of people take that for granted. A lot of people think, "Oh, well, I signed to a label." Yeah, no, you signed to a family. Like when you have all these people that are working for you and that are riding for you too, you have to do your part as well. So I feel like it's just it takes a major load off having people that want to do the right things and want to push you and everybody. I've been in situations before where it hasn't worked out or people haven't followed through and done what they're supposed to, but to be in a position where people not only want the best for you, but they want you to still be around and be a great 50, 60 years from now, it's it's unbelievable. Like it's literally everything. Like when you're a kid and you dream about what you want, if you want to be a superstar, it all starts by having a team. And so I feel like having Kevin as a mentor and a coach and somebody that I can rely on, he's really, and I'm still like, I learned something. We went to brunch today and I learned something new from him. He's always talking, he's always storytelling, he's very wise beyond his years. And so to have somebody like that in my corner is just unbelievable. It's
Well,
really, it's, I thank God all the time because I'm like, man, like, how did I end up in this situation? It's, it's beautiful. So between that and knowing that, um, it's a longevity thing. It's not a short game. Like I'm not going to go post a video to TikTok. It's going to blow up and then I'm viral. Like you actually have to work. That's another thing I would tell artists is you mentioned 4 or 5 years of artist development. I've been in artist development for going on 4 years. And I'm now getting to the point where my first project's about to be released because it's taken 4 years to get me to the level where you can have the dopest project on the planet, but if you're not ready, the right people aren't going to put you out there until you're ready. And so that was Kevin's thing. He's like, nothing goes out unless it's perfect. You don't do this unless it's perfect. You don't do this. And like, there's a certain standard when you want to go to these places. And Kevin knows exactly what that sweet spot is. And it's just like, it's unbelievable. Like it's,
well, I would say this: one of the top three artists in the world in the hip hop side, we had was in art development for about 10 years,
there you go.
and that was J. Cole. So for all these artists who think that overnight success is always the way to go, I get it. You need money. You want to take care of your family. I get it. But that's not what's going to get you longevity or whatever. And then two, there's one thing that artists, and when I hear artists start saying, or the last few years, oh, I don't need management. I can just manage myself. No, you can't. A couple of reasons why Jay could attest to this. One reason why, because when you're trying to do big business not going to take you seriously if you come in that room by yourself. They're not. If you don't come in with management, if you don't come in there with a lawyer, if you don't come in there with some kind of team around you, then they're not even going to take you seriously because they're
Yep.
going to already know that you already not. They're already going to know basically you're not going to know what you're doing. You know what I mean? That you're going to basically that you don't have a foundation. You know
Right.
what I mean? At the end of the day. So you having that foundation around you, and then Kevin Bryant been around for so long, he can get in doors that you could only imagine getting in. And
Absolutely.
then the thing about it is you basically didn't have to go to thing of, oh, you have to have all these big numbers to look like a real artist. So basically, Kevin Durant went back to the 80s, the 90s, the 70s, the 60s. I don't know why people think it's so wrong to go to Motown route when they develop every single artist that's on their roster, and every single one of those artists is still
Still
touring
now.
to this day. You know what I'm saying? 60 years later, you know
Yep.
what I mean? So the Temptations still are touring this to this day, and it's only one remaining, original member, and they
Yep.
still tour.
But they're still
You know
going.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I kind of let me say this. I had a conversation with somebody today, an old friend of mine that used to work for Sony, and he asked me a question. He said, Jacob, what would you tell Universal if you had a meeting with them right now and you had an artist? Well, I tell Universal, all I need is a budget, and I don't need to put nothing on social media. He said, what? He said, how you gonna do that? I said, man, terrestrial radio, and I said, you may think you gotta use Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. And I said, but I don't need to use nothing but Google Ads, and it's a wrap. And with the right artists, we can still sell 1 million units.
Wow.
mm,
And so my question to you, Cam, how many? Name me 5 artists that you like in today's music market that can sell 1 million copies without the internet.
Ooh. Oh my goodness.
Hey, that was a good question. I had to say
Oh
that.
my
That was a good
goodness.
question.
But you're right though. Like social media drives everything nowadays. Like it's and that's one of the things for me is being in artist development for so long. Like for the longest time, I've been like I'm skittish to post things and I'm skittish to go out there and in artist development. They're like, that's how you win. You know, me being an older school artist, me being able to play an instrument. I always told my parents growing up, I was like, it would be so nice for me to have grown up in the 70s and 80s because I would have fit right in. I would have been the sweet spot, the golden. Now it's like if you're not posting sufficiently on social media, you're missing out.
Yeah,
Like it,
but that's where the labels are losing it.
right,
They're looking at social media numbers instead of looking at raw talent. And this guy might have an 808 drum pattern and might have a repetitive hook, and people like it because it's easy to remember. So my attention span is low, so let me remember this, and I'll just repeat it, not the lyrical capacity or the R&B ballads that make you like, man, let me rewind this shit back. Good Lord
right,
have mercy. You know what I mean? Not that anymore. But I tell people all the time, a great artist, as long as he got terrestrial radio, as long as he do some type of advertisement and got a few billboards in a few different cities, they really don't need social media. They
Oh
want
yeah,
you
and
to.
also, I don't know if Kevin Bryant knows his name. Tobago, he owns a record store in Riverdale, Georgia.
okay,
So if you want to get your physical copies in that store, he does physical copies of CDs and vinyl, and he does album release parties, EP report
really,
release parties. I'm talking about from everybody from Tiana Taylor to uh, 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 Benny the Butcher to any type of major artist. I think he had a couple of country artists in there recently. So definitely tell him if he to contact that guy if he wants to do the physical stuff too. And trust me, the physical market is still a big thing. They've brainwashed artists into thinking that they have to go to social media so because the record labels want to take all the money and keep y'all from making money. You know
right,
what I'm saying? That's the reason why they tell you physical copies is dead. Because they know if y'all realize that physical copies is not dead, then they know they can't make as much money as they've been making off of y'all. Because they making all the money, the artist's not making nothing. I'm not
that's
saying your label, I'm just saying
in
the
general.
industry as a whole. You know
Right,
what I
right.
mean?
Now,
So
now, now, before we go, Icon, Cam, I'm gonna tell you what the reason why I asked you that question.
Okay,
I was on YouTube and I was listening to these guys that make $7, $8 million a year, businessmen, right? And they was like, well, we on this YouTube interview, and then they said, we don't have social media. That's like, what? They don't have social media? He was like, nah, we just use Google ads and Bing and Yahoo advertising and things of that nature and radio advertisement and stuff that. And so I I I say, man, that when you're making, I ask you this because I want to, when you're writing, if social media shut down tomorrow, think about this. I should still be able to sell records without social media.
right,
You know what I mean? But off your writing ability, you can still reach people as long as there's terrestrial radio out there, and as long as you and your boss man at the label got you a sync licensing agent, and as long as you can get on TV and film, you still gonna move units. You know what I
absolutely.
mean? So that's the reason why I asked you that. You know what I mean? I
Right.
wasn't trying to trip you up, but
No,
just wanted you to think about it for a second. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
because people like people forget that because social media is taking over everything. People forget that that's still out there. There's people that
Right.
listen to vinyls and vinyls only. There's
hmm
people.
yep,
I
yep.
love. I have a record player. I love putting on vinyl. It's like, but now that this generation has been like everything, you can get everything on your phone or your laptop. Is I think that's one of the things about me being like rooted in that old school style. Like I'd love to be one of the people that brings that back. That kind of is a driving force to make people know that that's still out there. So you being that plug and telling me that there's people out there that still do those, you can still get your actual records and still have that market and still get played on radio. Like that's huge.
And
There's
that's
no
just one. It's hundreds of record stores around the country. I'm just giving you one
right.
in that market, in that Georgia market. It used to be them and Camp, but Camp shut down during the pandemic. You know what I mean? I guess they couldn't hold it together during that time. But that particular one I'm talking about been around for I know at least probably 20 something years. And
Okay.
they still going strong. I just talked to the guy like 3 days ago about, a situation a project we working on. So he's definitely still going strong, and y'all definitely to tap into that when y'all ready to move these units. You know what I'm saying? But
Absolutely.
anyway, brother, I appreciate you coming on. Just get let everybody know where they can find you, what music you got out right now, and the whole nine.
Okay. You guys can find me on everything at CAM Nettles. That's CAMNETTLES. My new single, No Games. My first bit of music I've ever put out. It's called No Game. It's a coming of age story. It just dropped on all major platforms. The videos on YouTube, and I have an EP that's coming out soon. So stay tuned.
All right. All
Yeah.
right. I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you, Kevin.
Yeah.
No problem on that information, but I appreciate you sending your artists over. And hopefully, we can continue to, support and whatever y'all need from us on this side, we always here. So, God bless you, young man. And yeah, like I said, when you at the Grammys or something, don't forget about us little people.
Right.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
anyway,
Cause I'm
but
like,
nah.
cause I'm a show
Uh,
act fool. I'm just playing.
And she
I
walk up to you, Cam, you know me, Cam.
You know, Queen.
No, anyway,
make
it was
sure,
good to
man.
have you. It was good to have you on, brother. You have a blessed and wonderful week.
Y'all too. I
All
appreciate
right.
y'all.
Uh,
Bye.
Brown skinned girl, and she knew I was out